The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of KSMQ Public Service Media Incorporated or its assigns.
Coming up next, we're going to bring you rich cultural experiences. Stay with us. You are watching Food Connections. Welcome to Food Connections Cultural Edition. I'm your host, Dan Hernandez, and tonight we're going to be discussing Italian food and culture. And joining us tonight is Carlo Biondolillo. Carlo, did I pronounce that correctly?
Wonderful.
Okay. Carlo, thank you for driving from Rochester to join us here tonight and share your experiences on Italian culture and food.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It's my great pleasure.
Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind just giving a little background on yourself. You kind of mentioned you've been in the States for about 10 years, but if you could just give us a background where you grew up in Italy.
Okay. I was born in Italy in a city called Taranto, not Toronto, Canada. Southern part of Italy. It's practically in the heel of the boot of Italy,
Okay.
very southern part on the eastern side, very close to Greece.
And so pretty close to Sicily then too, right?
And pretty close to Sicily as well. I grew up there, I studied there, and then when I get a job, I start moving all over the place in Italy. I always liked, to go around and learn more. So my city was, too small for me. So I went around. Then I got married to my wife. She also liked to go around. We went different places. I also worked for a little period in Paris, in France,
Okay.
and then Rome, Naples. And then in 1992, I had an opportunity to come to the States in Rochester, Minnesota, for my job, for a short assignment. And I was exposed to this new adventure and culture, and me and my wife got in love with Rochester, or the States, I would say at that point. And after a while, 1998, I had another opportunity. I said, well, let's go. And we moved.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
We were talking off air earlier, and I was surprised about this, but you were mentioning today in Italy, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different dialects, and primarily driven through its rich histories and empires that came through Italy. Could you explain that? Because I found that very interesting.
Well, that does apply not only to Italy, but all over Europe. But Italy in particular, because Italy has been conquered by so many empire and population in Europe that you cannot even count them. In 2,000 years, we had so many owners, And by the time they would come, they would invade what we call today Italy, but Italy never existed, as country up to couple of hundred years ago. So they would come, they would invade this part of territory, and depending on where they would come from, they would extend their invasion more or less, or whatever. They would influence that part of the population. So that population would acquire their language, their dialect, or whatever. And then after a while, they would get another invasion, they would gain another influence, and sooner or later they create their own language, which today we call it dialect.
Okay. I would imagine with so many different influences, there's probably big regional differences in foods. And maybe in very simple terms, because I'm sure there's so many different regional differences, but in simple terms, basic differences, I'd imagine in the north, probably more cream butter sauces, in the south, probably lighter sauces.
Yeah.
What are some basic differences?
Well, yes, you're right. A basic difference. Just to name one, you just named, the creamy thing is butter and extra virgin olive oil. That's a forever battle between, northern part of Italy and southern part. And again, Italy, very poor country, based on peasant, food, peasant culture, you cook and you eat what you have. So in the northern part, they had cows, so they have butter. We didn't, but we have olive trees, so we use extra virgin olive oil.
In fact, you use the word, because Italian food is one of our favorites to cook at home. my wife, my children love it because it's so simple, so flavorful, and there's so many things you could do with it and still keep it authentic and customize it. So maybe you expand a little bit more about this idea of peasant food, how simple, and what that really means, because I exactly know what you're talking about.
Yeah, simple because they didn't have much. That's very simple to explain. So they didn't have much, so what you do, you try to use what you have. And that's how the Italian cuisine started. It doesn't matter north or south, it was poor both ways. Now, after so many years, the Italian cuisine has evolved a lot, has become more sophisticated now, but never lost its simplicity. And we, in order to keep this simplicity, I think we keep trying to define what is the first course and the second course, you know, in our normal dinner. So just to give you an example, if you see a dish with pasta and you see a steak on top, that's not Italian.
Yes.
It's two dishes in one.
One pot dish, it's called. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if I walked into your family's house here in southern Italy, what kind of fruits, vegetables, you mentioned earlier there's not a lot of spices, what kind of herbs would I see in your family's house if I walked in there today?
Yes, we don't use so many spices, and
Just salt and pepper?
Salt, pepper, basil in terms of herbs. You know, basil and parsley are the most common one. Onion, garlic. Talking about garlic, you know, I have the opportunity now. I will use, if you allow me, to break one of the legend. You know, the Italian like garlic. Well, that's true, but in the terms that garlic is used as a spice, is not an ingredient. So when you see those cook that chop 2 tons of garlic and they throw in a plate, that's not an Italian dish. We will see this later.
Sure. No, in fact, I know garlic has a lot of medicinal benefits, so it's probably that rich history.
You know, in our culture, more doesn't mean better.
Maybe speaking of, now that you've been here in the United States for 10 years, what other areas have you seen that probably are misconceptions that Americans have of Italian cuisine?
Let's say,
I mean, the pizza. I mean, obviously the pizza is an Italian
that's
concept.
a good point. Pizza, again, simplicity. Pizza was born as margherita, okay, which is pizza, dough, cheese, tomato sauce, and basil. Well, it's still in Italy the main pizza. Well, go here to any pizzeria and see what they put on top. Anything you can find, right? Well,
it's just like your steak on the pasta, right there.
Exactly. So again, if I would explain, or a better way to explain the Italian cuisine would be a kind of hunting experience. You don't want to be overwhelmed by the taste. You want to hunt and find those kind of things. That's the excitement.
Yeah, the other thing I've noticed with Italian food, at least when I cook at home, and this is not an exact number, but I only use 7 or less ingredients. I'm not using 15, 20. It's just so it's very simple, very flavorful, and you can taste all the ingredients that are in there.
Exactly. In fact, this is part of the, you know, when a family get together, you know, for celebration or something, is part of the main discussion that in general the women have. Oh, what did you do? I tasted this. Oh, no, not this, not that. You know, this is kind of a cultural, you know, part of the.
You were talking about olive oil, prominent in southern Italy.
Yep.
So in Italy, would you, even the southern part, see big differences in flavors? In the olive oils that are...
Well, I mean, with this globalization, it's very difficult to maintain those kind of things. But when I was as a little kid, I remember with my father and my mom, every year was, every family, or at least most of the family, they used to go to the farm outside the city or wherever to find and buy the extra virgin olive oil for the year. So we would put in big container, you know, and use for all over the year.
Carlo, maybe if you can explain what extra virgin is. I'm not sure not everybody knows what, because it's amazing to see how big the olive oil section has become in America. Probably not anywhere near like Italy, but I'm sure some people are confused what extra virgin is.
Well, there is a big difference, and in Italy we are very picky. There are laws that protect this kind of branding. When you say extra virgin olive oil is first press of olives.
So that would have the most flavor.
First press, right. When you say olive oil, then you can go up to 70, 80%, I don't know the such percentage of anything else. So that's a big, big difference. So if you buy oil imported from Italy and you see on the label extra virgin olive oil, then you are safe.
Okay, but in general, if I'm just cooking in a saute pan, I could use regular olive oil, but if I want for dressings or for I want that flavor to come out, you want to use extra virgin or?
As a southern person, I have to tell you extra virgin olive oil. That's it.
Okay. And what would be some typical regional, I mean, right now we're going into summer months, so what would be typical summer dishes?
Oh, a southern part again of Italy has a lot of vegetables. So we cook vegetables almost every day.
Grilled, steamed?
Not so much steamed. What we do most, very, very common are eggplants. Eggplants, there are two main dishes that all over the place in Italy they do at summertime. Which is stuffed eggplants or Parmigiana eggplants, that you see also here at the restaurants, and then zucchini. Zucchini is another big thing. Oh, another one is also peppers. Red peppers, yellow peppers, and you can roast them, you can fry or you can bake, different ways. There are different recipes, but at summertime, fruit and vegetables becomes a big deal.
And so cook them, little olive oil, salt, pepper.
Yeah.
French bread? Or sorry. Oh God, I just called myself.
Yes. Now you're in trouble.
Sorry, Italian.
You are in trouble. Yes. Well, I should not have allowed this, but
well, at least I don't have a knife on the table. Yeah. So good Italian bread and a glass of wine?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
What would be, is there some summer desserts that are very popular?
Summer dessert, again, depending of the region, depending on the part of Italy where you are from, but tiramisu is one of the most common. It's very common also outside the States, outside Italy, sorry, in the States or all over the world. Then there are, in southern part we have also a lot of crostate, which are kind of cake or baked that you stuff with jam, those kind of things, or maybe fresh fruit,
Well, right now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick video break.
Okay.
Then when we come back, you're going to, I think, share with us a dish that you've prepared.
Yep.
And then I've taken the challenge to try to make red sauce and to see how good it comes out. So we'll be back at the video break. We'll share with some of these great dishes. Thank you.
Popes, painters, and really good food and wine. The rich tradition and history found in Italian culture is well reflected in its cuisine. Traditional Italian cuisine could be best described as rustic and regional. Subtle yet unique variations in preparation, cooking style, and flavor highlight the country's 25 different regions. While tiramisu, prosciutto, espresso, bruschetta, or risotto are common Italian foodstuffs, this country's wide variety of pasta may be their most celebrated and at times contentious culinary creation. Usually named after its unique shape, pasta dough can be found either fresh or dry. According to Italian law, pasta secca, or the dried version, must be made with the yellow-colored durum or semolina flour. The Italians have a saying, la dolce vita, the sweet life. It is a mantra that celebrates an indulgence in the finer things of life. So take some time out of your busy day and have a taste of Italy's sweet life.
Log on to ksmq.org and click on Food Connections. While you're there, you can also see highlights from past episodes, read the blogs, submit your own experience and ideas. If you have any questions about tonight's topic, you can call in right now. The number is at the bottom of your screen, and our operator is standing by. Well, Carlo, thank you. Welcome back. We'll be here in a few minutes and kind of go through some dishes. So, are we? Well, Carlo, welcome back. So,
thank you.
You've prepared a couple of dishes.
Yep.
So, if you can explain this one dish that you've prepared here.
Okay, what I have prepared here is a very simple dish, and I want to demonstrate to you that takes only no more than 10 minutes, and which is the same amount of time that you would spend to make any kind of sandwich, with the difference that, you know, a dish of pasta, it's more healthier and will make you feel full, so you don't need to eat much more, and you know, it's and then it's very simple. So what you need is, this is for, you know, the recipe I'm going to give you is for 4 people. So use 1 pound of pasta. In this case, I'm using.
Carlo, while you're talking, I'm going to be making my sauce, and you can share with us. So I'm going to start my Italian sauce. So I, of course, extra virgin olive oil, which I just learned.
Olive oil, yeah.
So a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in this pan.
Yeah.
And then I will always start with sautéing some onions. So I don't know if you're...
Yeah, which is exactly, you're doing exactly the same so far.
We're going to put those in, so you can keep going, talking about your dish.
That's what I did. You know, I saute some onion. I would put, for 4 people, maybe half onion, sliced on little pieces. So you saute the onion. When the onion is gold, then you have 2 choices. You can take it out, or if you like it, you can keep it. Then what you do,
why would you take it out? Because I never take it out.
Well, again, we talked about simplicity before, okay? And the onion, if it's not perfectly cooked, if it's cooked too much, could be heavy for digestion. Some people don't like the acidity of the onion, so it's a personal taste. And then the onion, if you put too much, would kill the taste of tomato. So it's a balanced thing that you have to do. So after you saute the onion, then for 4 people, you take a couple of cans of diced tomato.
So in my sauce, as you're talking, I want to put garlic in my sauce, but just for...
Garlic with onion?
Yes. No.
See?
All right.
See?
We're going to do it the Italian way tonight, okay?
Garlic and onion don't go together. Depending on the sauce, you choose one or the other.
Okay.
In this case, because it's a simple plate, no meat, we put onion.
Okay.
Okay? So then, when this is done, you put 2 cans of this. You drain the water first, and then you put in the mixer a little bit. You don't want to make a creamy sauce, just few seconds. This is perfect. Those one in those cans are perfect. So you drain it, you put it in, okay?
Now, what I do at home, I use a mixture of crushed tomatoes and diced tomatoes to have a little texture.
Yeah.
Would that be traditional?
Perfect. And then you cook it for no more than 10 minutes. You put a pinch of salt and a pinch of sugar.
Yes. And the reason you do that is because?
Acidity.
Okay.
Okay? Then 10 minutes, it's done. Oh, you put some basil in.
Okay.
It's done.
So
in the meantime...
So I'm going to pour a little bit?
Yep. Put this in.
So I'm going to do a mixture of both.
Yep.
Okay. First time I've done it without garlic, so I'm learning something tonight. Okay. I know we would normally drain that a little bit. Okay.
So in the meantime, we are cooking pasta. So for a pound of pasta, you need, I would say, 3/4 of water, okay? You put some salt in the water boils, and then you put the pasta in.
And the salt is added for flavoring?
Yes, because otherwise too sweet. Then, as my grandma used to say, when you cook pasta, you don't leave the pasta alone. You stay there.
Okay.
Okay, with the pasta.
Well, another question though is, I noticed that some people will put olive oil into the water. That's not recommended, correct?
No.
Why is that, Carlo?
Well, if you put the olive oil in the water, you know, looks better, shiny, but then when you put the sauce on top, will not stick anymore.
Okay.
If you see those penne, are called penne rigate, with those little strips. What is the reason for those strips? To retain the sauce. Okay. So putting the oil, you are just, you know, defeating the purpose of the shape.
Don't put olive oil into the water. This way the sauce will stick to the pasta.
Yes.
Okay.
So you cook the pasta. You can read the instruction, but just as an indication. If it says 10 minutes, after 6 minutes, 7 minutes, you start tasting.
Pinch of salt or no?
Pinch of salt, right.
Okay.
You don't want to overcook the pasta. Okay. This is a religious thing to do. If you have a guest and you overcook the pasta, everybody is going to talk about you for the rest of your life. Okay. So, pasta is cooked. You drain the pasta, drain very, very well.
So for the amateur watching right now, how would you tell if the pasta is getting close to al dente?
You taste the pasta, and it needs to be cooked outside, but a little bit crunchy inside.
Okay, a little texture.
Yes.
Okay.
That means that it's al dente. Okay. If you don't see that, texture or little crunch inside, it's done. Too late.
Okay.
And doesn't take too long. We are talking about 30 seconds, 1 minute, you are done. So that's why you have to stay there.
Okay. So for tonight, do you mind if I cheat and just throw the pasta in there, or should we?
I am not going to see it. Okay, you can do it.
Okay. So just so we could just finish the dish here. Okay. We're going to pour a little bit of pasta in there. But obviously, we'd cook this pasta separately.
Yeah.
So I've pre-cooked it. Carlo, I just want to mention this is a product, I don't know if it's typical in Italy now. It's actually made out of lentil flour. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to get my children to eat more whole wheat pastas, but they don't like the color and the texture of whole wheat pasta. Mm-hmm. So this, when it cooks up, it looks a little similar to the white pasta.
Yes, right.
And it eats really well cold, so it's higher in fiber, so it's something that's available in most grocery stores.
It's a good way to tease them. So.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Now, is that a trend in Italy too? Of just more of
no,
these?
because we still have, women that can make homemade pasta with wheat,
Okay.
So once a week, even my wife at home, once a week we eat wheat homemade pasta for the same reason. We need more fibers,
Okay.
The difference, see, you are mixing the sauce together. We don't do that. We drain the pasta.
Right.
We put the pasta without sauce in the plate, and then on top you put cacio ricotta, which is a cheese made with sheep milk. That I'm not sure if you can find here in Minnesota, that I brought from Italy.
Okay.
But a good substitution is the Greek feta cheese, very close. So you can, grate some feta cheese on top, then the sauce, and then little basil. This is simple, easy, healthy.
But if you have a preference for more drier cheeses, like a Parmesan or Asiago, is that a personal preference?
That's a personal preference, right? Exactly. Yes.
All right. So you know what? Let's just finish this dish off here. So we're gonna turn this burner off real quick. It's all right. So we would. So tonight, Carlo, I don't have any ricotta. I only have some Parmesan. So we would just put a little bit of the cheese here.
Yep.
Okay.
Some cheese, little basil on top, and then it's perfect.
All right. Now, there's some fresh basil here. So I've been told that it's better not to use a knife with basil because cutting it releases all the great flavor. They're just literally with your hand.
Yes, with the hand. It's not because of the flavor, but because the knife would oxidate, the leaves, and then will become black wherever you cut. So the ends is a better way to do it.
Right. Now, we didn't put any wine into the sauce.
Not in this plate.
Okay.
That's fine.
Is that an option?
No. When you start putting wine in the sauce, you are changing the sauce.
Okay.
Then you need to put meat in the sauce.
Okay. Boy,
this is called penne al pomodoro fresco, which means penne with fresh tomato. It's a summer plate, very light.
Now, could you, at this point though, any fresh regional vegetables, could I throw those in at this point, or those are on the side? No. Okay.
Nothing. We spoke before.
Okay.
This is first dish.
Okay.
Then you want vegetable, you want meat, you want fish, fine. Second dish.
So
don't mix up.
So I mean, other than cooking the pasta, this took us, 5-10 minutes?
Yes, that's what I said. Sandwich or pasta, same thing.
Very healthy, very flavorful?
Yes, exactly. And then you eat a plate of this, then you are not hungry anymore.
But we would have some Italian bread, right? In a glass of wine?
Yes, with a glass of wine. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
And what are some of these other herbs that you brought?